I ask for the truth on behalf of Darren Dobson concerning career and financial issues. The last 12 months haven't been too good, and I just wondered if things are going to get better again. And ask this in the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love and non-violence. Blessed be to the crow, the carrier of souls from darkness into light. And we just place the tarot to the side, the crow's magic tarot to the side there for you, Darren. And we'll deal out 3 cards in a spread. And the first card in the spread is the position of the recent past influence. This is about a month ago, about say a moon phase. I would say a moon phase behind, about 3 or 4 weeks or so ago there. Now Darren Dobson, of course, is here right now at present, so that's the next card, the present influence. And then finally, of course, the immediate future influence. And just like how the recent past influence is a moon phase behind, the immediate future influence for you there, Darren, is in the a moon phase ahead. So about 3 or 4 weeks or so into the future. So what we'll do then, we'll deal the cards as they were drawn, and we'll establish first what's been going on. Of course, you said over the past 12 months or so, things haven't sort of appeared too good for you from a financial point of view, and of course a career sort of, job sort of aspect there, whatever. So let's just see what we're doing. We'll just pull out the first card first, see what Crow has given us, what Crow Brother has given us for the first card, what magic, what energy was vibrating just recently there. We'll just bring that round and we'll flip the card nice and slow, just not to disturb the energy there, just so out of respect. And there we've got the energy of the moon. The moon is a major arcana card. In the tarot, as you know, there are 2 decks. If you don't know, there are 2. Really, the tarot is made up of 2 decks: the 22 major arcana and the 56 minor arcana. The minor arcana come a bit after, and that's the one you play poker with. I suppose if you knew what you were playing poker with, you wouldn't play poker. But either way, I always call the minor arcana the elemental deck, and then the major arcana, of course, is the esoteric deck, which came first. And with the major arcana card, it usually points to something literally that major or something important in the situation. So any card that appears in the spread, that position in the spread or aspect or whatever that it's focusing on, is linked to that. And in this case, for you, your recent past as a major arcana energy. So a major situation over the past 3 or 4 weeks or so took place, and the moon is its energy. Usually the major arcana deck or major arcana cards or energies, as you would say, give you no choice in the matter. You don't really have a choice in it. It's more like a permanent fixture. Whereas minor arcana energies or minor arcana cards in that whatever position show that you have a choice and you have power to change it. You can't change it when major arcana. You did have not much choice to change things in the past 3 or 4 weeks or so. The moon, what is the moon? Well, I don't know if you've often heard the saying moonlight. They often say, oh, the moonlight, out in the moonlight and things like that. Well, I don't know if you realise it's not moonlight, is it? It's a lie. It's a deception, that is. And moonlight really is reflected sunlight, isn't it? And this sort of seems to sort of indicate that sort of theme, in the sense that maybe there have been a lot of reflections you've been reflecting upon, as you would say. Now, just the crow there, rising crow is king in this deck, and his energy is surrounding it and provides the magic. The crow is the carrier of souls from darkness into light, and of course, I'm sort of locking on to, don't know, because I've got the other reading glasses on. They're not as strong, these reading glasses. The other ones are a bit like bottleneck type, the bottle tops, the sort of things. Whereas these are not as strong. I thought I won't use it much strong, just needed to see what I'm doing. Mainly so to get a bit more light, because if I lean over a bit, it seems to cut the light out a bit, doesn't it? I'm having to just get a bit closer with the other reading glasses. But here, of course, and I tend to notice that I'm focusing on why I'm locking onto this blue of the moon here. Why, I don't know. I'm just locking onto that. It seems as though, I mean, of course, blue, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Of course, blue is the throat chakra, isn't it? The communication side of things, that side that vibrates with communication. With the moon, often in a traditional deck, if there's such a thing, a traditional tarot deck, in, say, for example, the Tarot of Marseille, for example, you've got like wolves howling at the moon. I mean, they don't actually howl at the moon, but the moon represents introspection, and the wolf often symbolises the shadow, which is that sort of darker side of oneself, the sort of side that one has to face up to and all that sort of thing. And that sort of represents that. But they're standing next to like a pond, and inside in the pond you've got the crayfish, which symbolises the truth. In some decks the crayfish is there climbing up the balcony or whatever, whereas the crayfish symbolises the truth, and it's as if to say under the surface there's anything but serenity. When you look at a lake and you see all the boats bobbing up and down and the ducks, and you can feed the ducks, and the nice sunset and reflecting on, but under the surface there's anything but serenity. There's the old bikes, old fridges, anything that anybody can throw in there, it'll be there, won't it? And this is the sort of thing, the truth of that lake is anything but the surface. This sort of says this in a similar sort of way. In a traditional tarot deck, you have like most tarot cards should be designed on the triangle above with the square underneath. The triangle is the triangle of spirit, and the square is the square of matter. So with your triangle on top there, and then your square underneath, it's like as if you've got the essence, the main spirit of the card, and then the sort of earthly effect. And this sort of this is not a traditional deck, but on this particular one, this particular card, you can sort of see what's going on in that respect. Well, in the essence of the card, of course, you've got the moon and the crows rising, carrying the soul from darkness into light. And of course, in the underworld, you've got the earthly effect, which is the truth in the underworld. In this case, it's depicted by the Star of David, the crucifix, Christian crucifix, and the crescent there, as if the three main Abrahamic religions that seem to symbolise the truth. In this particular scenario, the darkness appears to be underneath and the light is above, but the light is, of course, as we've established, it's not the moonlight, but it's reflected sunlight. So it's not even really true light, is it, in that sense? And this is sort of seems to be what it's saying about your recent past. Any light that shines, or any light that you seem to have been attracted to, was a deception. It was a lie. You were deluded by that. You were sort of taken in by it, and you lied to yourself about whatever it was over the past 3 or 4 weeks. So you've been lying to yourself, basically. There's a lot of delusion going on. And when I mention delusion, and the 3 Abrahamic religions, who have, they all have imaginary friends, don't they? It seems to be the same one, but they all have their own opinion upon their religion is right, but they all have the same imaginary friend. Which, we all believe in Santa Claus, but Christmas is different for us. If you get what I mean. And this is a similar sort of thing. Sorry about that, I couldn't help that. But this is a similar sort of thing, isn't it? In the sense that you believe in Santa Claus, but you don't quite know which Santa Claus or how to believe in it. But no, laughing and joking apart, of course, it just indicates that really, maybe you've been telling yourself from a financial point of view, oh well, don't worry, I'll be able to save up, so I'll spend a little bit more next week, because some will come in, and I'll be able to save up the week after and not spend as much after that. When you know full well you'll just spend more anyway, but don't worry, we'll worry about that when tomorrow comes. Or I didn't get a job or whatever. Just lately, so I'll get one next week, so I'll just spend a bit more and just enjoy myself. Come on, let's face it, we can't live a life in misery all the time, can we? Which we can, but we don't want to. Nobody's saying don't be positive, but the crow represents that darkness, doesn't it? It's sort of carrying the soul from darkness into the light. And it seems as though, yes, to some degree there has been a touch of lunacy involved here going on. Why am I focusing on these sort of like the trees here in the background? As if maybe there could be something lurking there. But we don't know what it is, so we tell ourselves what we think it is. And that's the sort of delusion as well. Maybe we're afraid of something that isn't there. Maybe that's what it has been with you. You've been like afraid of something that isn't there, or something like that, where that sort of had an effect in some way. I want to now pull the next card, because we want to see where you are right now, and we can sort of like link or marry up the two cards, link them together, and just see how they work there. And then we can sort of, you could say a bit like the effect of what's just recently happened. I suppose the cause of what's about to happen as well. But this is, of course, where you are now. For as much as we always say you can't define yourself by what you did then, but you can define yourself by what you're doing now. Let's see what is going on now. And have you realised the truth, or what? The truth was even there. The very essence of the moon is truth, actually, although it represents lies, deception. The very essence of truth is lies. The very essence of lies is truth, isn't it, in a way, because how do you know which one's which? There you've got the Empress. Got some animal spirits and things there. Taurus, the energy of Taurus vibrating right now. With Taurus, you usually find if Taurus doesn't get what he wants, he can literally be like a raging bull, can't he? In that respect. Notice there, Crow is king again, coming into that as if it's a sunrise, carrying you into the light, from the darkness into the light. Crow is king again. Notice the crow is a bird, of course, and naturally, and the bird people, they are thought to be the guides, the guidance. Why is that? Well, the bird people are thought to carry the messages from the heavens to the earth. And that's why they're the guides. And it is as if, although just recently you were deluded and maybe wondering what lurked in there, and sort of your imagination literally sort of running riot, as you would say, regardless of your imagination clouding your judgment to some degree in that respect, nevertheless there was guidance, although a twisted sort of guidance. Maybe a best safety lies in fear type of guidance. I don't know what magic was providing you with that, don't know, and if that was your own intuition, but certainly your intuition is at play now, because the Empress represents intuition and conception, things that how you understand things, and there's a lot of understanding going on. Notice that, of course, there's the bird people with crow as king there, and the eagle representing the spirit, which is your higher self, listening to your higher self. The deer there, the pathfinder, you're representing your ability to, and your instinct. Your instinct, though, protects you in a way, doesn't it? That's why. Notice the deer is a four-legged spirit. You got the winged ones there, the bird people providing you with guidance, but you've got the four-legged ones as well. Their spirits are thought to walk the earth, and that's why they're thought to protect, because they're grounded. So with the bird people, they are the guides, and of course you're guided by your own sort of intuition, in the sense your intuition is providing you guidance, but it's also protecting you. Crow is protecting you, but crow is healing you, carrying you from darkness into light, through guidance in that way, through magic in that way. But bearing in mind that crow has also sent the deer, the pathfinder, to protect you there, just basically just saying right now you're following your own instinct, really. Now, which is the jaguar, another four-legged spirit that protects, and that's to do with reclaiming things that may be yours or whatever, and maybe you're in a position right now where you are reclaiming things, trying to reclaim not so much money that's owed to you or something like that, but certainly maybe in a way money that you owe yourself by not spending it, or a job that you've been wanting to get for a while. You've been able to reclaim your place on the ladder, for example. The Empress, of course, is often seen in some decks, like the 1JJ deck, for example. She's depicted as a pregnant woman. A pregnancy for a woman, of course, pregnancy for a woman is a personal achievement. It doesn't change the world, but it changes her world. That's what I always say. And that's why the Empress represents personal accomplishment. Reclaiming what is yours, following your instinct and your intuition, and gaining an understanding of what's going on. Yes, she's mistress of her own destiny in this case, I suppose, by you being master of your own destiny, by literally just following the guidance that Crow gave from the recent past, trying to discern what's true and what isn't. It's a bit hard when there was a lot of darkness there. Notice darkness, of course, there. Not only do you lie to yourself, but also others lie to you, and by you believing those lies, that's a form of delusion as well, isn't it? A form of lunacy, in the sense that you can, by believing the lies that other people tell you, and not sort of using your own intuition to work out and discern what's true and what isn't. If it doesn't sound right, you can, sometimes you can, a lot of the times you can sense and detect genuineness, can't you, in a person or in a situation. It's a bit like the fake news that's been going around just lately. where the Russians seem to be getting the blame for all of it, because they can't be bothered blaming the real people who are to blame, I suppose, which are our own governments. But either way, you've only got to look at some news articles and you can tell it's true or isn't, or it's got a spin on it. A bit like the illegal war in Iraq. That had a spin on it, and certain people at the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, were kicked out and left the job. One of the commissioners there, he got booted out because one of the reporters there said that Andrew Gilligan or somebody said that the dodgy dossier was all sexed up, and he got the boot, and yet it was proven right. And you can tell you can sort of say, oh well, he's got the boot, so it probably wasn't genuine. But then again, when it all comes out in the wash, and you can sort of say, well, but I just somehow feel as though there might be an element of truth in that. And it's a bit like in the situation that you're in now, where what's been going on, although it's been a lot of darkness, you can sort of say, although this has happened, although that's happened, nevertheless, I somehow feel as though that may have been worth a path following, or what that person said to me the other day, or what other people have been saying about that person I wanted to work with, or whatever. I think they were just putting their own spin on it to make me hate that person, or something. Notice the foliage there on the. I always tend to focus on that as well, naturally. The foliage, as if to indicate growth, either maybe spiritual growth, earthly growth, or just growth of one's self from a higher level. I always tend to focus on that as well. Sort of. It's interesting, really, when it goes from like delusion to sort of accomplishment. It's as if maybe right now you've learned a lesson. Maybe you realise that somebody lied to you, or the system lied to you, or whatever it was. When we're going on about governments and lying to their own people, I mean, our government murders its own people, but goes around accusing everybody else of doing it, but doesn't do anything about itself. And it's a bit of I suppose you could call that hypocrisy, couldn't you? And in a way, maybe you've noticed it, in that sort of light, you've noticed hypocrisy going on. It's been going on around with you. Maybe your peers, or your work colleagues, or your friends, maybe, as like I say, they've said one thing, done another, or maybe they wanted the job, so they said, oh, that boss is terrible to work for, and then you find that they are working for them after. It's just because they wanted the job and they're trying to lure you away. Don't fall for that sort of thing. But maybe by deluding yourself into thinking, oh, maybe it's true. Maybe it's true what they were saying. I don't know what lurks in the background. Oh, you don't want to go working over there. You don't want to move out of town. You don't know what lurks in the darkness and the uncertainty. And maybe that's been going on as well. So fear of the unknown is sort of... With the crow, though, crow is the guardian of the place before existence. The crow... of course, the guardian of the place before existence, the carrier of souls from darkness into light. And of course, crow is magic. He says to you, even now, he's saying, for as much as I'm coming into the new sunrise, which is the beginning of the rest of your life, nevertheless, crow enters into the darkness without fear. And I think this is what... the fear of that darkness, the fear of the uncertainty, has sort of given you, you'd rather have the light on and go by what you can see. Yes, we don't believe in things without evidence. That is a fact. But sometimes, why don't we believe in things without evidence? In a sense, there's no evidence that you are where you are, or where you say you are. You are at a distance, I cannot see you, but nevertheless I read for you. And this is a similar sort of thing, isn't it? When when we've done mediumship readings, and we sort of say about spirit, for as much as spirit isn't here physically, doesn't mean they are not here. It just means that they are not here physically. And that's another one you could sort of believe. Is it a case of belief? Is it the fact that the evidence doesn't show up that the dead are there to speak to us? And it's in a similar sort of sense here, because there's been darkness going on, uncertainty going on just recently with you. You'd rather tell yourself there's either nothing there or there's something there that's a bit dangerous. Why? Why do we assume that aliens from other planets are hostile and are going to destroy us all and zap us all out of existence? Who's to say that aliens, and if they are more intelligent than us, why would they want to be destructive and do such a backward retarded thing as to destroy us? And it's a similar sort of thing, isn't it? Why do we assume the negative? I suppose it's a protective thing, isn't it? We do it to protect ourselves. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe you've been protective too much of yourself and the throat chakra again, and you've communicated that fear. And right now, of course, you have been led now, of course, into the light, maybe right now, and you've followed your instinct, which has protected you. You've listened to your higher self that said, I must reclaim what is mine with the Jaguar. I must reclaim what is mine so I can get growth again. Do you see how that links with that when we do it that way? That's an interesting thing, and that's not bad considering it's 20 to 10 in the morning, and I haven't even made another cup of coffee yet. This one's gone cold, but I want to now move on to the next card, which is the immediate future influence. This is, I suppose, for minor arcana energy. You've got major arcana cards at the moment, haven't you? Which indicates that what recently happened and what's happening now are both major situations. The whole situation so far has been really a major sort of development, hasn't it? So let's get this card here and we'll rotate it over. As we said, the minor arcana card gives you the power to change it. Will it be one of them? Will you eventually in the immediate future, between now and this time next month, the next 3 or 4 weeks or so, have the power to change it? Or will it be another major energy? Not necessarily major, not necessarily a negative one, because these two cards are not necessarily negative. I suppose the moon, if you perceive it that way, but nevertheless it's delusion, isn't it? And there certainly could be other people lying to you as well as your own lies, and believing them lies, and then believing the lies that you've been lied to with. It's a minor arcana card. You've got power to change it. It's the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups. Notice there are birds again, the bird people. Obviously more guidance for the future there. So that's the birds, the winged ones, carrying the messages from the heavens to the earth. So we've gone from guidance to sort of guidance and protection, reclaiming what is yours, understanding and personal accomplishment right now. So if you've got a you've got a personal accomplishment right now and you feel, yes, things have been bad over the past 12 months or so, but I know things can get better, because nothing is permanent. This too shall pass. If I'm having it rough, I know that it's only a matter of time before this too shall pass. I'm alive, I'll be dead. I was dead before, I'll be alive before I'm dead again. And it's a similar sort of thing where that this too shall pass. If I'm going through hard times, of course that it will pass. But of course, if I'm going through good times, I mustn't take it for granted, because this too shall pass. Be prepared. In this case, though, it looks a bit of a strange thing, in the sense, say strange thing, the Six of Cups, 6 is related to analysis. It's connected to analysis. You've got the loss of the 5 and the 6, or the analysis of the 6, and then the weakness of the 7 before the challenge of the 8, and then the peak of magic at 9. But of course, cups, just focusing on that, cups, of course, is linked to the element of water. Don't sort of score many brownie points. You don't have to score many brownie points to sort of realise that that water goes in a cup. Cups represents water. This type of cup represents coffee. But of course, nevertheless, it's water, isn't it? But it's gone cold, but I like cold coffee anyway. It doesn't bother me, especially when you smoke it with your pipe tobacco there. I've gone to a slightly smaller pipe, really, just lately. Instead of the larger type, I've just gone into this sort of one here. I'm not a bad smoker. It's a Peterson, you know, so it's a sort of baseline sort of thing, with a bit of honey, American honey, some honey type tobacco. That's got a nice flavour to it. Less about me, of course. Less about my smoke and coffee breaks, which I'll no doubt be having later on. Back to this. Cups, of course, as water, as you know, and there. Notice there, because the bird analysis. 6, the number 6, we could go through that. The number 1 is to do with the element of fire, which is spiritual essence. The numbers 2 and 3 are to do with the element of air, which is creative and transmissive powers, isn't it? And then, of course, the numbers 4 to 9, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, they are to do with the element of water. So you could say the 6 there, you could say it's the watery part of water, couldn't you? Whereas 10 is the physical vehicle, to do with earth. This really to do with focusing more on the past. It seems as though for as much as in the future, I suppose to some degree, I don't know about certainly an emotional challenge, I would say that would be more like the 8 of Cups, wouldn't it really? Whereas this is more, I suppose in the sense, not withdrawn, but nevertheless emotionally involved with the past. Look as he looks back, doesn't he, as if he's looking back to the past. More interested in the past, reminiscing about the good times. And this is probably what you might find yourself doing for the foreseeable future. Reminiscing about the good times, about, oh well, when I was working or when I had a better income or whatever. The past far way sort of far back, further back than here. Over here somewhere, I think, and way into the distance. But certainly focusing on the past. Notice that our low focus on the triangle of spirit, maybe the spirit and the essence of the past. Not so much what actually happened, but more of its essence, how you felt from an emotional sort of point of view. Noticing the circle as well, maybe that's the circle of infinity. Maybe there's an infinite sort of link to the past. I suppose we all do, don't we, really? And the past can have guidance. The bird people there, he's there providing guidance. We can learn from it, reminisce and smile and say, well, yes, okay, things are going bad now, and the only way I can enjoy myself now is by focusing on what happened on the past or reminiscing about the good times, and that's the only thing that puts a smile on my face, because things other than that are just well, I don't know. I'm tempted to now, I want to just pull some runes out here to see what runic energies, more and more, the shamanic thing, isn't it, really, with crow and the the Germanic sort of aspect to it there. I'm going to just pull some runes out here, 3 runes, and we're going to just place them on top of the cards. Give them a good mix up there, and we'll just see what's for Darren now. We'll just see what we can do. What energy? I've got my hand on a rune there, and just in this blue bag here. I've just got my hand in there, and I just sort of sense, don't know, that one wants to come out. The Solus, the sun, the rune of the sun there. I don't know if you can just see that there, can you? And we just place that on the moon there. It indicates really, I somehow get as though when we connect it to that in that sort of way, the delusions of the past were more to do with a protective nature. As we said, it was a sort of protective, we said about that, and the sun is a defence sort of energy. Although a flash can be, when you view it sort of on an angle like that, it's more like a flash of lightning, isn't it? A flash of inspiration or something. That's where the letter S came from. The letter S derives from that. It's just really just a wide open death rune, really, and the death rune is a closed sun rune. Yeah, that's how it's drawn anyway. And it sort of depicts that as though the delusion and the lunacy of the recent past was more of a defensive thing. You were doing it to protect yourself. The best safety lies in fear. So I suppose that clarifies that, doesn't it, really? Yes. Your imagination would have clouded your judgment in some respects, but you communicated. I'm locking onto the blue of the throat chakra in the moon. Why, I don't know. As if you were communicating that to others, and maybe others laughed at you or believed you, or maybe it was communicated to you, and you were the one who believed the lies of others, and then of course became deluded and believed your own lies as well. I've got my hand on another one now, just while my hand's in that bag there, Luke. I've just got me sort of hand. Oh, it's gone. It's just gone. Oh no, it's come back again. Just my hand in on that. It's suddenly jumped out my hand and then come back to it again. And it's. I'm going to pull that one out to see what that energy is. Now, isn't that interesting? We were on about growth there, and you've got the fertility rune, the Ingus rune, the Eng rune there. Sometimes it's just 2 lines and they like cross at the top and the bottom, but it's sometimes just drawn as like a diamond shape as well. But you're the centre of the 2 lines. It's like that and then that, and they cross it at both ends. But sometimes some draw it like that. I usually draw it the other way, but it doesn't make any difference. The Ingus rune symbolising the fertility and growth. And it's funny how I was talking about that just then. How we were discussing the growth going on by reclaiming what's yours and protecting yourself with your instinct protecting you and listening to your higher self and whatnot there. Nevertheless, that's providing growth right now. What form of growth, I don't know. Maybe the potential of growth, or even growth. Maybe there is a bit of money coming in, and you're sort of just wondering if only some more could come in. I don't know. You're not dead anyway. It seems as though, to be crude, you've got a roof over your head, food to eat, pot to piss in, and so forth, and a bed to sleep on. So he doesn't seem too bad. I don't know. From that sort of crude sort of way of viewing it. But from that sort of protective sort of delusion to the growth, the following your instinct and listening to your higher self so you can reclaim what's yours, so it provides growth and fertility. So whatever protected you, or whatever you used to protect, however Crow tried to protect you by carrying you into the light, has provided growth for you right now. So things are sort of looking up right now. Maybe you just can't believe it. If it sounds too good to be true, it usually is, and that's a true saying, isn't it? I'm going to put my hand in the bag again now with the runes, and we're just going to try and let's put it on in shot there just so you can See, and I sort of wanted to go that one there. Just one that was in my fingers, not the ones in my hands, but the one that was the tip of my fingers there. Just pull that one out there. What's that one? There's a rune for you. The Euros or the Oryx, the strength rune is often it's often called there. That's an interesting one. I suppose maybe strength in reminiscing. I don't know. Strength in viewing the past and learning from the past. Although I suppose to some degree analysing the past, maybe the act of analysing and doing an inquest, or as you would say, or doing your homework, saying what did I do wrong there, what went right, what went wrong, you know, and sort of evaluating, like doing a personal evaluation report, maybe. Probably that's got some validity to it. I don't know, but certainly we can see there that things are panning out quite sort of interestingly, as you would say, going from trying to protect yourself, although delusion, protecting yourself, maybe best safety lies in fear, to growth right now, up to strength through the means of viewing things, looking at the past and seeking guidance from the past. That's an interesting way of viewing it, isn't it? I just don't feel any more coming out. We usually just do 3, don't we? Just pull 3 out. It's not a rune cast though, is it? Because with a cast you throw all of them forward. That's how you're supposed to read runes in a way, really. Well, it's not in a way, it is. But of course we're just drawing 3 out and placing them on here to see if there's we can sort of join the sort of energies together. And it sort of does work, doesn't it, in that respect. If you sort of view it that way, you'd use a bit like paperweights to stop the cards falling off, couldn't you? Although I think they're just slightly out of shot there, so I'll probably put them just above. And then, I suppose, just like I say, just to like a brief resume or whatever. It's easy just to see that there, the delusion of the recent delusion, and how you've of course, I suppose, introspection to some degree, with it being the moon energy, but of course nevertheless you always have to sort of seek guidance in the darkness, don't you? You have to sort of seek guidance through the darkness, then, through the dark period, and Crow was there providing that guidance and protecting you, providing a defence, of course, providing some form of defence in that regard, or whatever. So maybe best safety lies in fear, although what was in the darkness could have been good, nevertheless there could have been bad there. Any fear of what you would have sort of assumed, maybe. Of course your intuition then kicked in right now, your intuition clicks in right now, and that provides growth, because you're able to more sort of, yes, listen to your higher self and say, well, maybe probably it wasn't that bad after all, and be a bit more real about it, in a sense of listen to your higher self with the Eagle Brother there, and of course dear brothers sort of protecting you with your instinct, and just following your instinct and going for it, whatever the hell, whatever. And of course Jaguar there helping you to reclaim what's yours, reclaim the growth that's there, and or just reclaiming what you were sort of denying in the recent past, as you would say, and that providing the growth, the ability to throw the growth there, like the foliage and the ingus there, and of course the strength of the Oryx, which of course that's the like an extinct sort of bull type of thing, isn't it? they were sort of in Roman amphitheatres and that, they used to sort of fight them and stuff. Well, that was before they started throwing the Christians to the lions. We didn't have proper entertainment then, you see, that was before we had proper entertainment. Well, laughing and joking apart, of course, the immediate future provides you with strength. That growth will provide you with strength in the sense that it's the strength of being able to analyse, reminisce, yes, have a smile, and maybe when one is feeling down about things, nevertheless one can still smile about the good times that happened far, far, far way back over here somewhere. But nevertheless was there, has happened, and one knows, or at least one will know now, that this too shall pass. And that is really for the foreseeable future there, Darren, as best as we can do, in the sense that your immediate future, yes, you do have power to change the immediate future though. Remember, because although you're reminiscing about the past, you didn't have much choice about the past. I mean, obviously you haven't now, but you don't have much choice in what happens now. Not that what happens now is a bad thing, of course, because you're following your instinct, you're following your intuition right now, and you're doing the tuning into the woman within, as I always say when I do tarot, using your intuition and things. But very soon, between now and this time, sort of next month, the next moon phase or so, you'll discover that you'll be able to reminisce, look back at the past, and you will have power to change things based upon what you see. I suppose that's what will bring you the strength as well, because you'll be stronger. And of course, as Crowley said, one must fall many times before one is raised up. One must fall many times before one is raised up, and that is the key to it, isn't it, really, Darren? So with that, I think for now, Darren Dobson, we say blessed be to Odin and all the Norse gods. And also we say blessed be to the crow, the carrier of souls from darkness into light, as these runes and these cards have now spoken.